Hey, I'm going to show you how I'm using different AI models to learn to code much faster. This is just one of the workflows, but I'm going to show it to you. So let's say you're in Cursor, or you've been writing different code and the AI has given you a big block of code that you don't quite understand. I think when you're using these tools, you shouldn't just be pressing OK and thinking, all right, I'm just going to hope for the best. I think a good thing to do is to try and learn. So use the tools to actually learn, and then both of you will get faster because you'll ask for better things, and the AI models will give you better response. So if I start a new chat here, so I take my code, and this is the prompt I use. Please explain to me in detail each line of this code and what it does. Okay? Then you paste the whole file in. Usually a file in an app that you're building, the file shouldn't be too large, right? Because you should be splitting it into more logical components and then pulling those components in. I'm talking about this as someone that doesn't really know how to code, but I've been using Cursor and Claude and ChatGPT to teach myself, okay? So this is the prompt I use. Please explain to me in detail what each line of this code does. Okay, I just read that wrong. If you want, you can add some context, but usually I found it doesn't need context because the way that the AI writes, if you've asked it properly, is that it writes in a very clear and intuitive way. So, please explain to me in detail each line of this code and what it does. And what comes out of this is a very, very nice response. So you're going to see it's going to break it down each line. So import next response. Okay. Once you've done this a few times, certain things like import Z from Zod, you might already know that, but you can just immediately skip. Yeah. What do you do then? So if you're reading, you're like, great, okay, so you've broken it line by line and you've told me what it is. What do I do now? So you want to go one level deeper. So let's say, for example, I didn't know what next response was from next server. In my next prompt, I'll copy that and I'll say, please explain these a bit deeper with some examples. And I'll paste that one there. So when I want to do a new line without submitting the prompt, for anyone that doesn't know, you hold shift and then enter, and it will give you a new line without submitting. And I'll just read down. So this imports Zod library, abbreviated as Z. Okay, so I don't really know what Zod is, for example. And I can just write Zod. Okay. TypeScript definitions, for example. What are TypeScript definitions? So this is when you already know a little bit, and so you just want explanations on a few more. A few more of the things. So I'll press this. So you said with some examples. So this is going to make some example code, right? Coffee. We'll wait for the response. And so this is what you want to be doing, because if you just accept what it gives you, by the time your app gets big enough to do some proper functionality, the context is going to be lost when you start a new chat. If you've got an app with thousands of lines of code, there's no way that the context window right now, the context window is the amount that you can put inside this chat window. The context window is too small for the amount of code, and it's going to start losing context. That's another reason why it's very good to have files like this: project plan, project structure, okay, which can be temporary, but they're just as a base. So then I would go into Cursor, for example, the new chat, and it's got project plan here, but I would also mention project structure, I would add that in, and then I would say .cursor rules. So I've got cursor rules file up there, which I'll make another video on. And this is where you ask it to do something. So you give the model the context. But when your code is short enough, or you're just trying to break one file down, you really just need the file and then this prompt here, which is, please explain to me in detail each line of code and what it does. Once you've looked through each line, sorry, I'm scrolling a bit here. Here we go. Please explain these a bit deeper. So the bits that you don't understand, we've got some examples. In Next.js, API routes need to return a response object. So if I didn't know what a response object was, I would say, what is a response object? And you can just keep going down and down and down and down. You're probably not going to get it the first time. But this is how you can use AI to get better at code much faster. The people that are just asking without knowing the structure or trying to plan a bit deeper the structure, they'll very quickly get a bloated app that they don't know what all the files do. They don't know what the pieces do. So then when there's an error, they're going to ask the model to fix the error, but they could end up making the problem worse without knowing how to fix the problem, you know? So use these tools to learn. All right, thanks. I'm Alex Northrall. Bye.